Do you ever struggle knowing what to post? Or maybe you have the content, but you're not sure what format to post it in? Well, today I'm going to show you how to DIY your very own content creation strategy. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, the place for bosses and business owners who want to show up consistently, creatively, and most importantly, through their content. Today, we are going to put together a content creation strategy that is designed to take the overwhelm out of the process. So when I first started creating content for myself, I found that there were two main parts that often left me overwhelmed or frustrated when I wanted to create consistent content. So the first part was figuring out what I was going to post. So this is more about the actual content and the messaging itself. So what did people want to hear from me? What was I supposed to say? When was I supposed to be personal? When was I supposed to sell? I didn't know these things, and that would often frustrate and overwhelm me to the point of paralysis. However, once I figured out that part of the equation, the second part was, how do I represent that information visually? Should it be a quote? Should it be a carousel? Maybe it's supposed to be a reel or a list or a blog post or a video. The list was endless. Which one do I choose? And it all got overwhelming very, very quickly. And I want you to let me know in the comments below if creating content is overwhelming for you at times, and specifically what part of the process kind of puts you into paralysis. What part of the process stops you in your tracks? Tell me that in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. So a lot of you who know me know that I have a creative agency where we not only create content for all of our clients, but we also manage their social media as well. So having multiple clients at any given time means that we need to know what we're posting, where we're posting it, why we're posting it, and it actually often needs to be created well in advance so that we're all heading towards the same goal. So today I want to share with you the basic principles that guide us as we create content for our clients so that you can then apply it to your content and create content more consistently and effectively. So let's pop over to the computer and see how it's done. Okay, so what we need to do first is to determine the goal or goals of our content. And typically the framework that we work by is that we have brand awareness content, we have authority content, and we have sales content. And I'm going to go and deep dive into each of these so that you understand where they fit in your strategy. So the first one that you can see here is brand awareness content. And what that often looks like is content that appeals to a larger audience. If you think of it like a top of funnel content, it's the content that it doesn't necessarily polarize your audience. It's shareable. It's easy for people to engage with. It's easy for people to like. So it often takes the forms of inspirational content, entertainment. So anything that makes you laugh or smile or feel something. It's often snackable content, and we're seeing that more and more with Reels and TikTok and little bite-sized pieces of content. That's really all that means, it's bite-sized. There's also a certain amount of levity to the content, so it's lighthearted, it's not deep diving, it's not heavy hitting, it's not hard hitting. And it's often very relatable. And that relatable element is really, really important because it's often the thing that allows people to share the content. The next pillar that we like to create, as I mentioned before, is the authority content. So with authority content, you can also think of it like content that positions you as the expert, and other people also like to call it educational content. You can kind of go between those three there. And what that looks like is, like I said, educational content where you're teaching people about your knowledge bank or you're showing them how to do something. So this also looks like the journey of your business, and this can position you as an authority or build trust with your audience because it shows that you came from A and now you're at B, right? So people can see that there's progress. They can also see that once you were here and now you're here, and that maybe that you can do that for them as well. And the next part of authority that I've got here is process. So with process, you want to be able to walk your customers through certain processes within your business and through certain customer journeys in your business, because that shows that you've thought out your customer. That shows that you understand your customer and you can take them from A to B to C to D and get them the result that you're promising. So when you have that customer process and you're able to articulate that, they know that you're not flying by the seat of your pants. And it can often establish or build trust. And it can also bring down those walls where they're not feeling safe with you, and it can establish that safety with you because they know what to expect when they come to you. The last pillar of authority is also stories. So this can be many different stories. This can be customer stories. This can be things that you've seen in your industry. This can also just be practical day-to-day, behind the scenes kind of stories where people can actually see you working in your business and see you have customers, see you have clients, see you have a team. And those types of things build trust. They elevate trust in the mind of your customer. And then that trust actually positions you as the authority for them in their mind. So our third pillar is sales. Now, this is kind of all of it in one here. So we've got community. You want to build out your community. You want to be able to put that community into a list or something that you own so that they can be essentially sold to at some point, right? Then you want to demonstrate your expertise to those people as well, so that again, it's building that trust. And then we've got solutions there as well. So it's very much putting your product or service in front of their face and saying, hey, you've got this problem, I've got this solution, this is how much it is, buy from me. It kind of doesn't get more simple than that. What I will add to this is that sales is often interchangeable with lead generation and a call to action. So what I mean by that is maybe you don't want a hard sell. Maybe you only have one service or product and it's high end. So your job throughout the year, or your job for the most of the time, is simply to build your email list or to get people from one place to another. So for example, with this, I often put a little teaser video out on Instagram and I will tell people to go and watch my YouTube channel. That in effect is what I would put under the sales category. It's call to action. I'm asking people to do something that would break the pattern in what they're already doing. They would physically have to leave the Instagram platform and go to YouTube to execute on the call to action that I gave them. It would interrupt what they're doing. It's a big ask to ask someone to do that. And that's why I put it under the sales category. You don't want to be asking too much of your people all the time, because they're eventually going to stop engaging with you. And unfortunately, I see it all the time. I see brands and businesses who go, you know what, we ask our audience to engage with us in this way. Tell us your whatever, what's your favorite whatever. And then they get a response, an overwhelming response, and then every single post after that is some type of call to action. And the problem is that you're taking and taking and taking from your audience, and you're not filling their cup back up with the brand awareness content and the authority content. You're not giving to them, and you continue to take and deplete, and eventually they stop replying, they stop engaging because it's too much. You need to have a really good balance. What we like to do here at 11 Lights Media is we like to have about an 80-20 between brand awareness and authority. So that's our 80, and then our 20% is sales. So typically on a Monday to Friday roster, when a client is posting one post a day, that's 2 pieces of brand awareness content a week and 2 pieces of the expertise authority content a week. And then we ask for a sale in there somewhere. And like I said, oftentimes it's not actually a sale. It's like, go to the contact page, or download my video series, or hey, check us out on YouTube, or go and follow me on LinkedIn. So you can really play with that sales category so that you're not always asking the exact same thing of your audience. Or maybe you're having a blitz on something, maybe you're really wanting to push something, in which case you can go hard on that message for that month, or however long it takes for you to achieve the goal that you've got in that area. Okay, so now that you know the different types of content to create and you understand the percentage formula that we work with, what I want to do is go back through each of those pillars and then talk about how they actually show up visually on a social media platform. This is going to be really good for you if you have a physiotherapy business and you think, I want to put out how-to content of like how to do exercises to stretch your back after you've been sitting all day, right? This is going to help you figure out the format to put that in, because that's educational content. And when we go through the educational or the authority content, you're going to see how oftentimes that educational content manifests well on social media. So let's do that now. Okay, so we're back at our brand awareness content, and you know that this is all about getting your brand out there. It's all about getting people to share your content, to engage with your content, to get new eyeballs on your content. So the type of content that works well here is memes, because they're incredibly shareable. And they're also relatable. If you choose the right meme for the type of client that you want to work with, and you pick something that's super relatable to their even their age and their era that they come from, that becomes really shareable, because that then becomes super relatable. You see how it starts all working hand in hand? So memes is a really good one. Quotes is another really good one, because again, it's got that relatability element to it. Depending on who you pick and depending on what is said, a quote is a really good piece of content to have shared or to have somebody engage with or like. Better still if it's your quote, right? And the third one here is gamified content. Now there's many different ways to do this, and you should actually go and watch my last video that I did all about getting more engagement on Instagram. And I talked through the lens of creating Instagram Reels, but I did a really fun piece of gamified content, and I talked through gamified content in there. But essentially this is creating content that appeals to people in such a way that it doesn't force anyone to do anything, but it really encourages them to participate. So oftentimes it can be something like, you might do a word search. Hey, whatever word you see first is your word for the year. I've seen ones like that before. Or also a fill in the blank type of sentence where it's like, my favorite book is, and you fill in the blank. And obviously it pertains to your niche and your industry. But that type of thing, for some reason, people cannot help themselves and they need to comment on it. And the juicier you make it, the more that you can hone into your client and the thing that he or she loves, the thing that he or she engages with in popular culture, the more that you will get a response in that area. So for example, let's go back to that physio one. It doesn't have to be a question about the physiotherapy industry, because there's a good chance that your client isn't going to care or know what anything is in that industry. They just want you to fix them. However, if your ideal client is a 30 to 45-year-old female who likes to watch Real Housewives of New York and drinks wine, you could do something about drinking wine. Do you prefer rosé or a Pinot Grigio? Like it's something like that, where you're gamifying the experience of knowing your ideal client well. And it can be really, really fun if you do things right. So that's just a few examples of gamified content, but you know, the more fun you can get with it, the better chances you have of your audience engaging with it. Okay, so let's move on to the authority content. So again, just a reminder, this is your educational expertise type of content that builds knowledge, but also builds trust. It shows people how to do something. It shows them that they're in safe hands. So some great visual content that you can make out of your authority content is infographics. They work really, really well. People consume the information much faster than if it was written down. You can also create checklists. People love checklists. The top 5 books to read when you're traveling. You know, for me, for my audience, it would be 5 social media prompts for the week ahead. That would be a really great one for my audience. They would eat that up. You can also do how-to content. Obviously, we've talked about that, so showing people how to do something. Behind the scenes is also really good. So that's like your Instagram stories, if you want to do a little video here and there. And then you've also got problem solution content. So you pose the problem and then you also position the solution after you've posed the problem, right? And that often can look really nice in a long form post. So writing that out so that people really feel the emotion and read through the pain points and identify with what you have written there. And then also tips and tricks and things like that. Now, with this, infographics and checklists, the best place to go is Canva because they have so many already put together for you that you would just need to change them to your own brand colors and fill in the information. For your how-tos and your behind the scenes, video is a really, really great solution. So how-tos, you can live stream if you don't have video production like we do, or you know, you can just film it on your smartphone and do it in your bedroom or do it in a room where there's carpet and there's furniture so that you don't get the resonance in the room. That's your simplest solution, but video is a really great way to connect when you're showing people how to do something, and you know, you can talk to the camera like it's a person and the person on the other end feels that energy and it increases that trust. And then your problem solutions, your tips and tricks, again, that's probably a visual type of thing that you could find in Canva, but also, like I said, that problem solution one, that lends itself to being a blog post. That lends itself to being a long form written piece of work. And if you do that well, it can be very powerful and it can really tap into the emotions of your ideal client. Okay, and we're moving on to our final pillar, which is sales, which is our call to action content, our lead generation content, our straight up ask for the sales. So what we want to do is we want to have testimonials for that type of content. That could be your one piece of content for that week. And that could be a video testimonial or it could be a written testimonial. Or it could be a before and after, because oftentimes that in itself is the testimonial and you don't even necessarily need words. People just need to see once looked like this and now it looks like this, and I can see that it's better than it was before. So testimonial content is really good for your sales pillar. Then it's also the straight up ask. This is a little bit more ambiguous because you could represent this any way that you want, but the straight up ask is saying, hey, I have this product or service, this is how much it is, this is how you contact me, buy my thing. So really, depending on your business, it's gonna look different for everyone. I'm gonna leave that one up to you. I'm not gonna hand feed you every little thing. I think you can figure that one out for yourself. Just make sure your copy has the service or the product that you provide, how much it costs, and obviously how people can contact you or where they can go to find it. And then you can have a list of your product or service offerings. So depending on whether you wanna just show people a menu of what you have, or whether you want to highlight something in particular, again, go to Canva for that. There's plenty of promotional content there that you could use to highlight something that you're wanting to push for that month or that week. So there you have it. We have covered what to create and we have covered how to visually represent it. And we've given you a few examples along the way so that you understand what it might look like. Now, these are not hard and fast rules. If you want to make a meme for your educational content, go nuts. It's completely up to you. You can rewrite the rules of content. And really, sometimes if you can zig while other people are zagging, more power to you. You're probably going to get a little bit more attention doing that anyway. But this is really just a guide so that when you know what you want to post in terms of actual content, you know how to go and create it, because a lot of people get stumped on the road there, and vice versa. Sometimes internally here, we actually create the visual element before we even create the meat of the content. And the visual element becomes the prompt for us to think creatively about how we're going to fill in the content and the copy itself. So there are no hard and fast rules to content, and I know that there are people out there that make you think that you have to do it a certain way, but you don't. This is really just to help you stop feeling paralyzed in your road to content creation. It is actually simple. You have a message and you need to put that message out. So once you know what your message is for that day or that week or that month, all you have to do is decide how you want that to show up and where you want it to show up. And don't forget, if you create a meaty video or a blog post or a podcast, you can take that same message and you can turn it into a checklist or a meme or take quotes out of it. The sky is the limit. You should be repurposing, because that's going to make your job a million times easier when it comes to, hey, what am I going to post today? But really, this is just a framework to guide you. And I really want to thank you for being here today. If you didn't already know, I have a content roadmap on my website. The link to that is in the description below. That's going to help you figure out your content to an even deeper scale. It's going to also help you organize your content, because believe me, once you're creating your content, the next hurdle is going to be, where do I store it? How do I store it in a way that makes sense? How do we organize this so it doesn't get terribly messy and there's things all over my hard drive and all over my desktop? So you're going to want to pick that up. It's completely free. Go to the link in my description. And if you like this content, if this has helped you, there's so much more of that on this channel. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye-bye.